So I've mentioned before the campaign of psychological warfare being waged against me by my wife and children, who for years have been trying to coerce me into funding and even accompanying them on a trip to Disney World. Now, we never went to Disney World when I was a kid. Our amusement park was a sheet of plastic, a grassy hill, and a garden hose. Homemade slip and slides never worked like the store-bought version, but we made do, and we liked it too. We didn't need no dang fancy glorified carnival. We ran around outside all day without our shoes on. Came home for supper. Supper was a boiled raccoon in a rusty pot, and we liked that too. And I would say, Mom, can I at least have some salt for the raccoon? And she would say, boy, you'll get some salt from those tears when I whoop your behind. This is how I lived. Or at least it's the version that I tell my kids all the time. And I've tried to explain all this to them, perhaps taking poetic license with one or two details, but they're not convinced, mostly because their mother is working against me, sabotaging me every step of the way. And the end result is that now we will be going to Disney World, as I can no longer withstand the pressure. My only hope is to keep putting off the trip using various stalling tactics, at least until our youngest is 25 or so. Already, I've successfully convinced my wife that we can't go this spring for whatever reason I came up with. Obviously, we don't want to go in the summer. It's going to be too hot. So instead, let's shoot for the fall. And that gives me several months to think of a reason why we can't go in the fall either. Maybe I'll say that we can't go because it's election season and I have to stay here and watch the polls or whatever. But as horrifying as Disney World will surely be, whenever I'm finally forced to actually go, it's only the tip of the iceberg. Here's the latest, an article from The Verge. It says, Disney has launched a new business for fans who can't bear to leave the pristine, family-friendly world the corporation has nurtured through its theme parks and media ventures. Story Living by Disney will operate as part of the company's theme parks division, developing a series of master-planned communities for residential living designed by Disney's creative staff and offering the same pampered tranquility found in its resorts. One location has been announced so far, a community of 1,900 housing units named Cotino that will be built in the city of Rancho Mirage in California's Coachella Valley. Concept art for Cotino shows villas, condos, and housing complexes clustered around a 24-acre grand oasis, which Disney says will offer clear turquoise water powered by the Crystal Lagoons technology deployed at its resorts. Amenities will include shopping, dining, and entertainment, as well as a beachfront hotel and clubhouse hosting Disney programming, entertainment, and activities throughout the year. Now, this truly sounds like a fantastic housing opportunity if you have so despaired of your human existence that you want to totally surrender yourself to Disney so that every aspect of your life is subject to corporate programming. I mean, even more than it already is. Now, if you think this sounds horrifically dystopian, like something out of a Black Mirror episode, wait until you see the promotional video.
I'm proud to announce our next Disney experience, Story Living by Disney. All new Disney-branded master-planned residential communities designed to be the perfect setting for Disney fans to write the next exciting chapter in their lives. And some neighborhoods will be planned for residents ages 55 and over. Story Living by Disney allows us to leverage what we do best: world-class service, legendary storytelling, and creativity. This exciting new venture will enhance, extend, and strengthen the Disney brand by allowing us to bring the magic of Disney to places you may never have expected.
These vibrant communities will be infused with Disney placemaking. Picture an energetic community with the warmth and charm of a small town and the beauty of a resort. A place that entices inspiration and makes every moment more memorable than the last. A Story Living by Disney community is something truly special.
The charm of a small town, except it's owned by a company worth $200 billion. Now, she says it's like a small town, but also like a resort. Only a resort is a place where people wait on you hand and foot, and you're subjected to so much unrelenting and obtrusive comfort and luxury that it quickly becomes exhausting in its own special way. Meanwhile, a small town, and I say this as someone who just moved from one, is a place where you can live independently and do things yourself and have some semblance of privacy and have something of your own and experience the bonds of community in a non-facilitated, organic, non-forced kind of way. So a small town is the exact opposite of a resort, and that is its whole charm. Still, even if the small town pitch is silly, who wouldn't want to live in a community dedicated to, as we were told, enhancing the Disney brand? These are surely the values we want to pass on to our children. When our children ask us what it means to live in a community and be a good neighbor, we can tell them that it means undying fealty to a multinational corporate brand. And when our children ask us the meaning of life, we can tell them that the meaning of life is the brand. And when our children aren't satisfied with that answer and begin to hunger for a deeper and more authentic existence, We could tell them to come with us to the Disney doctor so he can give them some special pills that will make all those unpleasant ideas go away. You know, I find myself more and more having to remind people that the Truman Show was not meant to be an instruction manual. It's supposed to be a nightmare, not a dream come true. It's a dystopia, not a utopia. But this is probably where we're headed as a country. I mean, in 10 years, we'll all be living in Disneyville or Amazon Land or Walmart Town. And the worst thing about it is that most people probably won't be real enough by that point to be bothered by how unreal and curated their everyday life has become. Again, we already live in an unreal, curated reality, and many people are not nearly as bothered by it as they ought to be. In fact, they like it as much as they can like anything, given that their passions have been dulled as they more and more turn into faceless, robotic consumers. As for Disney specifically, you know, lots of adults these days cling obsessively to not their childhoods as a whole, but specifically the brands and entertainment franchises of their childhoods. They're still adults, like they're adults complaining about, and they get really upset, complaining about the new Pixar films and how the animation isn't as good as it was, when Toy Story first came out. Or, these new Disney movies, they're not as good as I don't like them as much as when I was a kid. That's because they're for kids. And the Disney movies you saw when you were a kid when you watched them. That's why you don't like them as much now. Because it's time to move on with your life and develop tastes that are suitable for an adult. But those are the only things that they remember about their childhoods. That's why they cling on to it. It's how they define their past and also their present and their future. And so there will be, unfortunately, a vast population eager to go live in a community totally dedicated to the corporate entertainment that has always defined their lives. And maybe it's for the best. You know, get all those people in one place, segregate them, and then carve out the whole plot of land and eject it into the sun. That would be my plan anyway. And if we can't do that, then at least we can say to them that you're all canceled. Well, I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Matt Walsh Show. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right down there so you can stay up to date on all of our future content.